So day 5, the Asana class was very challenging again. We did a lot of exercises to strengthen our muscles and to stretch, of course, and learned a lot of principles about how you're supposed to breathe, how you have to be aligned, etc. So that's pretty helpful and effective. You can tell that the training is really, you're training your entire body, you're stretching it, you're strengthening it. It's very holistic, and I don't know if holistic is the right word, but it's, you feel it everywhere. It's very nice. Then in philosophy, today we talked about different types of chitta vrittis, so distortions of the mind, because yesterday I said that yoga is the blockage or the absence of vrittis, so these modifications of the mind, these distortions of the mind. And today we talked about what are these kind of distortions. One is actually pramana, which is right knowledge. So what is right knowledge? Right knowledge is when you really understand something. So, for example, you could have the belief, I should not lie. Someone told you that. But then in reality you do lie because you notice that it helps you to get things. And then you kind of struggle with yourself because you have this idea that you shouldn't lie, but you do it anyway. And you feel bad. In this case, it's not yet really your real knowledge that you shouldn't lie. But if you've experienced for a while, if you maybe have lied a few times and you've observed the consequences and you suddenly really understand why you don't want to lie, then it becomes pramana, right knowledge. That's kind of how he described it. In a book I just read, pramana basically just means that you take a thing for what it is. If I see a flower and it's a flower, then that's pramana. So, second one, viparyaya, is wrong knowledge. For example, if you take a rope for a snake, that would be wrong knowledge. Then you have the third vritti, vikalpa, is imagination. So, imagination is a gift that we have, basically, because imagination allows us to create things. But it can also be very negative if we get lost in our imagination, or if it's taking control over us. So you have to use the imagination in the right way. The fourth vritti is nidra, is sleep. We talked a bit about sleep and the fact that you kind of have to really let go in order to fall asleep. One interesting point was about dreams, because usually we put a lot of importance on dreams and what they might mean. And this teacher said he believes that dreams don't have a particular meaning, except maybe that you might have suppressed something like a desire, and in your dream it comes out because you want it so badly, and then it's coming. But that normally, you are so unconscious in your sleep, so you shouldn't take your dreams too seriously, because also you can see during the day how much weird stuff your mind produces all the time, how many wrong things. So in your sleep, when you're unconscious, it might be even worse, and so therefore we might not, perhaps shouldn't take it too seriously. Okay, in anatomy and physiology we talked about 5 aspects that are important for yoga therapy. The first one is again that you learn to relax. And relaxation is not the same as sleep, right? Because you can have a long sleep and still not feel relaxed. Or the opposite, you can relax quite well even without sleep, for example, in a very good meditation. The second thing is rhythm or discipline. Interesting point here, he said nature is always disciplined. It has no choice, like the birds get up in the morning and they chirp. And we often, when we hear the word discipline, we think it's something negative or something, but it's just rhythm. It's just the natural, it's going on and on and on, like the heart is beating and beating and beating. And it's very healthy for our body if we have a rhythm, like the same time we go to bed, the same time we get up, etc. So the body knows when to digest, when to be awake, etc. The third point is repair. So here he talked about free radicals and antioxidants, chemicals in your blood, and we need to have a lot of antioxidants compared to the free radicals, which are harmful. And in order to get these antioxidants, we can eat healthily, like vitamin C, for example, fruit. But in order to properly absorb it, you already need to have a good digestion and to be relaxed again. So that is a prerequisite for that. So you really need to make sure you are relaxed enough. Rejuvenation was the fourth point. So when you have all these points happening, relaxation, rhythm, and repair, you will feel much younger. And fifth is reprogramming. That means that you really change your habits. So you really get into this rhythm, etc. And you don't just do it for a time, but you really reprogram yourself. Yeah, and we know nowadays that the brain is plastic, even in older age. The brain can still change, and so that is possible. And this reprogramming should never be done by force, but you should do it kind of lovingly, right? With love. Yeah, maybe still an interesting point at the end of the yoga class. We had a little discussion, like the yoga teacher. He just said that in yoga it is often assumed that all diseases are 100% psychosomatic. And I mean, we know nowadays that a lot of diseases are kind of psychosomatic, but the claim that it's 100% is a little bold, I think, for most from a Western perspective. So some pupils were also a bit, they didn't like what he said in this respect. But the teacher is very good like that. He'd also said, you know, this is just a view, this is an idea. You should not accept it. You should also not reject it. Just be open and hold it and see what you know, just work with it. Yeah. So the teachers are really great. And then we had another Asana class this afternoon. Also so exhausting, like I'm starting to feel tired, so I need to go to bed early today. Oh, yes, it's Friday, so one more day and then we have a day off. So I say good night.